Hello, good evening. Welcome to week one Q&A. I don't know if there is someone online. I will just pause first the recording. Just wait for someone to join in. Hello, magandang gabi. Hi, Reg. Hi, Reg. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Reg?
Hello.
Yes. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yep.
It's 9:03. Let's just give them 2 more minutes. And then, if kung wala, di tayo lang mag-question. Okay, resume recording. Okay, so we're now recording this video. So let's start. So typically what you are seeing on your screen is how an RStudio format would look like when you open it. Just to have a quick check, are you able to see my screen, Reg? Can you just confirm through chat? Okay, great. So when you open RStudio, typically the how it appears would you would have like three main boxes. So you have the console, you have the global environment, and over here you would have the help window. So normally, if you would like to have a clear console, you can start, well, it typically starts with a clear console like that. So how do you clear your console? You just go to the edit tab, then you click clear console, so you have like a clear console. So in the console, this is where you can input numbers and it will the system will automatically give feedback. So for example, just put 2 plus 2, it will give me 4. You will say 2 times 3. So in R, the multiplication is represented by an asterisk. So it will give you a 6. So double asterisk in R, just a recap, is for exponents. So 2 double asterisk 3 will give you 8. So do you have an idea what the double percentage sign mean? I'll wait for your response in chat, Reg. Okay. So the double percentage sign means modulo. So it gives, so if a number is a multiple. So for example, 2 is a multiple of 2 is a factor of 4, sorry. 2 is a factor of 4. So 4 divided by 2 will give you 0. So if the number can be directly divided by another number, so for example, 4, let's say 4 divided by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is gives you a perfect number of 2. The 4 modulo 2, so 4 double bar 2 will give you a 0 because the remainder when you divide 4 by 2 is 0. So for example, 5 double percentage 2 or 5 modulo 2, this will give you a value of 1 because when you divide 5 by 2, there is a remainder of 1. So can you guess what the value for this 10 modulo 3? So 10 modulo 3 will give you 1 because the the number that they can divide 3 is 9. So 10 modulo 3 will give you a remainder of 1. You can also use the function for exponent, the upper, you know what you call this? It's like the reverse V. I'm not sure what's the name of that one. This one, that symbol. So that's also a symbol for the power. So that is read as 2 raised to the 3rd power. So that will give you 8. Now, you might be wondering, what's the purpose of the window app? So that is for the code editor. So you can actually open, if you click on File, and our script, it will just open this window here. So this is where you put the codes here, and then when you run it, it will appear in the console. So the purpose of the code editor is you can write your codes there, and then so you don't have to repeat it over when you go to the console. So for example, I'll put here 2, and 2 times 4. So notice if I type here, nothing happens in the console because we have not yet run it. So for example, 2 raised to the 4, then 5 modulo 2. Okay, so now if I put my cursor here in 2 and then I click on run, it will run that first line. Okay, so notice that the answer will 2. So if I click on run here for this line, it will give you the answer of 8. And here, run, it will give you 16 because that's raised to the power of 4. And if I click on this 5 modulo 2, it will be 1. Now, so for example, if I put here X and I click on run, notice it will give me an error because X here is a variable and it is not yet defined. Okay. So, however, what if we put X, we assign the value of 4. So the arrow symbol, the arrow symbol that points to the left is actually, it means it's assigned. So this line is read as 4 is assigned to X. So if we run this, so the console will just read it as X, 4 is given, X is given the value of 4. Now if I type X here and I click on run, now it gives me a value of 4 because we have already assigned X to have the value of 4. Now, in the code editor, the hashtag, if you put a hashtag, the system will not read it. So for example, I put hashtag here, hashtag, and if I run this line, okay, the system will skip that part. So notice this was not evaluated. What it evaluated was the next line. So for example, I will put a hashtag here. And if I click on run, so the system will just copy whatever is that, but it will not evaluate that because I put a hashtag. And it went on to the next line. So even if I put a hashtag here now, okay, I'll put a hashtag and I'll click on run. Can you predict what the system will give? Can you give your answer in the chat window? So I put a hashtag in X. No, it will still give a value of 4. Okay, it will still give a value of 4. It's because if you notice here on the right window, the value of X was already stored. So it will still give a value of 4 because we have already assigned X. However, if you are going to erase your global environment, so there's the formula for that one is rm list equals ls. Okay, so there's a version where you can use the tabs here, but for example, I would just run this. The global environment is now empty, if you notice on the right side. So the variables has been cleared. So if I put again the cursor here and I put on run, it will now be an error because we have erased the variable environment. So this line here erases all the variable that we have here. So sometimes you might need that if you run a program at the start and you want the environment to be clear. So you might want to have a clean slate. Now, how do you, for example, you've made some codes here and you want to save. How do you save that? So it's just simple. I just click File and then Save. So automatically, the system will save that file. So for example, file 1. And if you click it, it is automatically saved. So if this area here is no longer red, it means that the file is actually saved. So I'll just click that one. So I want to clear now the console again. Clear console. Now, sometimes one of the common mistakes in when you try to evaluate is you might say, how come my file is not running? It's possible because your file is saved in another directory. So you have to be sure that when you run it, that the file that you are working on is in the same directory. So how do you go to that directory? So normally what I do is I just click on Session tab, Set Working Directory, and I choose the directory. Okay, so you can choose the directory. So in my case, I placed my directory here in R files. Okay, so all my files are actually under the R files. Open. Oops, oh, nagbalik siya. Wait, balik ko lang ha. Set working directory, choose working directory to, I will go back to war file, open. Okay, so I set my working directory. So one way to check if your files are there, the line that you can put is there with close and open parentheses. If you click that one, it will give you all the files that are available in your working directory. So notice I have saved a file here, week1.r. So let me open that one. So I'll just click on File, Open File, and I will click week1r. So now that gives you the file that I have. And I want to clear the console, just to be sure. Clear console. Okay, so I've shown you how to clear the console. I've shown you how to assign the directory. Okay, so yung sessions at working directory when you have to choose the directory. Opening an R script was basically file, then just open the file. So just make sure you are in the correct directory. And I've also said the purpose of the hashtag. So when you have the hashtag and you put it on the editor, the system will just read it, but will not perform whatever it's in the function. If you want to clear the variables, this is the code for that one. So yeah, so we've done the running. This will give you 4. This will give you 8 modulo. We've also learned assigning variables. By the way, if you put like this, 2 colon 5, do you have an idea what will happen if I evaluate that? Can you put on the chat your response? 2 semicolon, what do you call that? Colon 5. Okay, so this one, when I do 2 colon 5, it will generate a number from 2 to 5. Okay, so if I click on that one, it gives me 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, it's okay if you don't remember, you get to practice that. Now, you have read some videos about the different data types. So if you want to find out what is the class of that variable, so here in this line, 6 is assigned to the value of x. If I run that, it gives now, so it's just runs the 6 is now assigned to x. So when I run this one, class of x, it will give me what data type x is. So if I run that, class x, it will give me numeric, which means that x is actually a numeric variable. So y5 colon 10, if I run that, so it will just assign. Okay. Now z, if I evaluate this, the c, do you remember the meaning of c? Yeah, okay, great. So C makes it a vector. So if I run this, Z will be assigned the vectors 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if I put here Z and I click that one, it will give me the values 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, if I want to get the first element of Z, because it's actually composed, it's a vector of 4 elements, I will just put here Z bracket and put 1. It will give me the first element of Z. If I put here Z bracket 3, it will give me the third element of Z. If I put Z bracket 1 dash 3, it will give me the elements from 1 to 3. Okay. there is a function called length. So length just gives you the length of that vector. So if I put here, if I evaluate here length of z, if I run that, it will give me 4, which means that z is a vector with length of 4. Okay. I think you've also studied the class of the logical classes, right? I'm not sure if that was one of the videos. So if I put here A is assigned 4, and the class of A is a numeric, then if I evaluate A double equal sign, it means that you are asking actually the system, is A equal to 4? When you have a double sign, it's like you're saying, is A equal to 4? So if I run that, the system will give me a true value because A is actually has been assigned a value of 4. Okay, if you put an exclamation mark before an equal sign, it means not equal to. So is A not equal to 5? If I run that, it will give me a true because A actually is 4. So A is not equal to 5 is a true, will give a true. What if I put B equals 5 and I click enter in console? What do you think will the system give me? Make a guess. You can put in the chat. B is equal to 5. Actually, it will give a yes because B is hindi pa natin kasi na-evaluate to. Yes, very good. Galing. Hindi natin na-evaluate ang B. Pero kung in-evaluate natin yan, tapos evaluate natin itong balikan natin. B equals 5 and I click that, it will give me a false because B is now assigned a value of, B is now a logical value, whereas 5 is a numeric value. So it will give a false. They're not equal. Very good. Okay, so I guess yan lang muna for day 5. Tomorrow we will I will send a link for functions and it will get exciting once you get to know functions, because that's very useful when you start to do your program. So at this point, I will like to open the floor for questions. Wait lang ha, manage natin participants. Unmute na kita.
Hello, Kuya.
Okay, yes, question.
Actually, it's more of siguro hindi ko lang talaga pa na-explore yung iba pang courses. One pa lang yung natapos ko kanina kasi may iba din akong ginawa. Pero,
matanong ko
dun lang sa part ng ano, ay, wait. Feeling ko nakaka-affect yung electric fan. Wait lang. Hello?
Yes, better.
Ayun. Gusto ko po kasing ma-save yung course, Kuya Judel. Pwede ba yun? Yung sa swirl?
Hindi siya
Masa-save?
Wala tayong token. But what you can do is, wala lang, pwede mo lang siya maran ng maran. And then i-copy mo lang yung mga tinuturo niya.
Okay. I see. Pero ang ginawa ko naman, parang screenshot ko yung bawat ano para maalala ko siya. Hindi ko kasi alam nga kung paano. So, hindi pala siya pwede.
Hindi siya unless you enroll in a Coursera course, which is for that one, or specifically, you get to, that one is recorded. But that one is more like, you don't get to save the text, but you get a credit when they give you a certificate.
Okay. Tapos, yung question ko lang din, kasi di ba meron tayong, every week meron tayong goal.
Yes.
Yung sa last part, yung third part is yung app, tama?
Yes.
So, kailangan ko ba talagang makapag-produce ng app by the third week?
Not really.
Kasi parang feeling ko na-pressure ako.
On the fourth week ka gagawa ng app. Actually, mas simple lang siya na app kasi papakita ko yung mga sample apps.
Sige nga.
Sample app ko.
Pwede ba? na na parang ginamitan mo ng ganito.
Wait lang. Ba't ka naman nape-pressure?
Kasi baka hindi ako makapag-produce agad, kuya. Takot ako baka mali-mali yung gawin ko.
Actually, the topics I am sharing are actually the tools that you need to do an app. Actually, I will be excited if some of you will even go beyond what is would expect, because sometimes I have difficulty actually studying the app, especially the interactive. So from a user interface standpoint, my apps are not really that good, but it uses already the concepts of R. So hold on,
okay.
I'll just load my Shiny app. Bagal lang kwan. Bagal lang internet ko.
Ako din eh. Kala ko nga po hindi ako makapag-zoom.
Where's my account? Send ko na lang yung link sa'yo later on.
Okay.
So you will have an idea. Actually, dapat sa first day pa lang, shinare ko na yung, what do you call this? Yung app, so that you guys have an idea of what will be a typical output of the exercises.
Yeah. Yun, parang hindi ko kasi siya mag-grasp, kuya. Kaya parang, isip ko, ano kayang mangyayari? Ano ko kaya siya put together para maging
tama yan.
makapag-produce ako.
You begin with the end in mind. Okay, so
yeah.
I'll share with some of the apps. So I'll probably just share 3. Actually, very simple lang yung mga apps. So baka nga ma-disappoint ka. But then it uses the logic of
I think nakita ko na, kuya, yung isa, yung sa Euro something.
That's it. Yeah, that's one of the...
So, yun ba yun? Yung isa sa mga produkto ng ano?
So, actually, I will leave that to you in terms of your creativity, in terms of what app you will use, but you will definitely use the topics you've learned of course.
Doon.
Okay. Oh, one more thing before yung library. So alam mo na paano magkuha ng library, no? Library. Sorry, show ko lang share. For example, library. So one of the libraries that we will be using in the future is the deployer. Pag nag-react siya, nandiyan na yung library. But in case wala pa yung library sa system mo,
so kailangan ko na ba itong i-install din, kuya?
Hindi pa naman. Not at this point.
Not at... Okay.
So, kunwari, wala yung package na hinahanap mo in the future, you can install it from CRAN. So, daming package sa CRAN. So, I guess that's it. You have other questions?
Sa ngayon, wala pa muna. Kasi very helpful naman yung sa tutorial. So, yun. Kailangan ko lang talaga matandaan din.
Okay, I will post the sample apps that you guys are expected to at least the level na pwede nyo magawa at the end.
Yes.
So yung word predictor app, I will also share the word predictor app. Might take some time, so that is more advanced. But I'll share it as an example as well. The word predictor app was a capstone project that I had when I took the Coursera course, but that was for 10 modules naman.
I see. Okay.
You will have an idea of how that works. Okay?
Okay.
Yep. Thank you for calling in and hope to talk to you next week. Pero Saturday na. Hopefully Saturday.
Saturday na. Okay. Salamat, Kuya Judel. Bye-bye. Okay.